This is Dr. John DeMartini. This is one of the most amazing and inspiring shows that you can listen into. If you want to be on the edge of your seats, if you want to open up your heart, if you want to expand your mind, and you want to meet incredible people, stay tuned because you're just about to experience a transformative radio show that will change your life. And you're listening to the Dr. Pat Show that's coming up right next.
Welcome to the Dr. Pat Show. Talk radio to thrive by. Powerful, inspiring, and coming to you live, bringing you stories of people like you and me, busting through and living life full out. Get ready to dare to wonder what your life would be like if you knew you could not fail.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Dr. Pat Show. No, I'm not Dr. Pat. My name is Robin Clare, and I am the host of Hungry for Answers on Transformation Talk Radio. I'm also a recovery coach, professional, and I am a writing coach and a best-selling spiritual author. And so today I'm here with my friend and colleague, Elizabeth B. Hill. Elizabeth is, or Liz as I call her, is an MSc and an ACC, and is the founder and CEO of Greenheart Living and Greenheart Living Press. And so welcome to the show, Elizabeth.
Thank you, Robin. It's great to be here with you.
Yeah. So today's topic is about the healing power of writing. And we have both been on the journey as writers, as coaches, as I'm an author, you're a publisher. And so we really, really know the healing power of writing. And I thought it would be a great and interesting topic today if we could share that with our audience. And so my first question for you, Liz, is when did you first discover the healing power of writing?
Well, this was an early thing for me. I'm trying to think when it was. I was a child. I actually have journals from my entire life back to when I was a kid. I still have one that had like a shiny aqua cover with koalas on it or something from when I was probably 6 or 7 years old. And for most of my life, it's been where I go to write what's happening, things that I feel overwhelmed by or need to reflect on. When I look through those journals now, look at all the years, different relationships I've been through, changing in professions and religions and life, it's been so many different transitions in my life. And I don't know how I could have gone through all of those without having journaling and writing for myself.
Mm-hmm. And so what did you discover as you were journaling? Like, what were you finding the answers for what was bothering you, or were you finding inspiration for maybe a change that you wanted to make?
It's interesting because it can take many different roles, right? So sometimes writing is venting. It is literally a dumping ground of things that I just need to get out of my head, right? So sometimes that's what it is. And sometimes you can just rip it up after. You can just get rid of the paper. You don't need to see it. It's just getting it outside of the body. Sometimes it's also, I've learned things about myself that I might not have realized. So at the end of each year, I read the journal from the year past. So that's coming up for me. I do it the last week of the year before January 1st. And there have been years where I read through and saw the same things coming up that I didn't even realize the impact that those things were having on me until I got to the end of the year. And I had read that and I said, I'm saying this same thing is coming up every day. What a waste of energy this is. Right. Yes. So there have been times where it has caused me to make massive changes in my life from reading what I wrote as well.
Yeah, that's really wonderful. So when we're talking about writing as a healing tool, and you're talking about journaling, so I would say that that's maybe the simplest way to use writing for people. We see writing on many different levels as professionals in the writing community, and journaling is something, I think people get nervous about that. Maybe it's a New Year's resolution or something. I'm going to journal every day. But you really don't have to journal every day, although I think it's a very helpful tool. One of the things I work with my clients is to perhaps get them in the mood for writing. I ask them to just ask themselves the same question every day. What does my soul want me to know today?
I love that.
And that typically allows them to start writing something. It's almost like they're channeling their own soul, like their own inner knowing, their own intuition, and they're writing it down. Now, it doesn't have to be very long. Sometimes it's long, sometimes it's not long, but it really gives them a sense of connection to their own inner world. And wouldn't you say really that's what journaling is for? Is a tool to provide a connection?
Yes. And I think that we, in day-to-day life, we get very caught up in living very externally. We are, interacting with other people. We're doing the things we need to get done for that day, right? So journaling gives us this time to reflect and be with ourselves, which sometimes we might not have that introspective time, that time to be with ourselves, ask our soul what it needs, ask our body, our mind, our heart, what they need. And so it's something that gives us that space to reflect and grow. And it can be a very spiritual practice, certainly.
And interesting, because you said we might not have that time alone. We probably don't have that time alone in our busy lives. So what a great way to make time for yourself, right? And I loved what you said also about something our body wants us to know. I have discovered that when I don't feel well, or I'm in pain, it's usually my body trying to tell me what's wrong. Right. And it may not be something physical. It may be nerves or anxiety or something, but it feels like a stomach ache. Right. So if I can sit down and even actually write to my stomach ache, write and say, why are you here? What is going on? Why are we so nervous? And if I can just start writing that, it creates a healing tool. So what do we mean by healing? Let's talk about the word healing itself and the different levels of it. Do you want to take a shot at that one, Liz? What does healing mean to you?
I love that, because it's interesting, because when I got on this conversation, I was definitely thinking of healing as primarily an emotional healing space, right? But I know that our emotions reflect themselves in our body, and how much using writing can heal different aspects of our life. So it can be used, yes, for our mind, mental healing. It can be used for emotional healing relationships, right? To map out what's going on in this relationship, get some insight onto that. And physically too, what things that we're going through, we might not notice what message the body has for us unless we do some type of introspective work, which can be through a meditation or through a writing practice. I've healed financial trauma through writing, right? So there's definitely been times where I needed to shift into a space of gratitude for what I had versus everything that I felt like I lacked. Right. So healing has helped me with that, and also helped me process the things that fell off, that didn't feel right, and to notice those things that fell off, so that I could get into a place of healing around finances.
And for me too, I noticed that I do a lot of writing around my business. So it's not just writing a business plan. Sometimes I'll write about where am I? Where would I like to be? And how do I have to grow And what steps do I need to take in order to get there? And a lot of times what you'll see when you're doing that kind of journaling, it's not just about going to the next networking meeting. Of course, that's important. But sometimes you have things that you need to heal within yourself, like a fear of abundance or something like that, right? Or maybe an addiction to debting. Right. That will be coming up on one of my upcoming shows in 2022. We're going to be talking about the addiction to debt. So I think when you're journaling and you're just using writing as a healing tool, there's nobody reading it if you don't want to. There's nobody you have to say it to their face. Right. You just write it down. You're talking to yourself. You're talking to your inner world. You're talking to your own God. And so when I first started writing spiritual books, I would be woken up at like 111, 222, 333, 444. And finally, and then I didn't know how to write. So I would write a letter to God every night that I was woken up, dear God. And then I would just start writing what it is that I needed. And so that would happen. And then one day I said to my divine, why do you keep waking me up at night? And the message I received was, because you're not writing during the day. And so I started writing during the day. Yeah. As soon as I started writing during the day, I wasn't woken up at night. So for all of you that are woken up at night, start writing during the day. Anyway, we're going to break. You're listening to the Dr. Pat Show. This is Robin Clare, host of Hungry for Answers, and my special guest, Elizabeth B. Hill, the founder and CEO of Green Heart Living Press. And we'll be right back.
All right, all clear, and a break for 3 minutes.
Do your ADHD tendencies get in the way of you doing what you intend to? Traditional strategies for getting things done may not work for you. You need solutions tailored for your unique brain. In Bonnie Minku's training membership program, Productivity Pathfinder, learn ADHD self-mastery step by step at your own pace in a supportive community with live online options each week. Learn more about Productivity Pathfinder at thrivewithadd.com.
Day-to-day living can be difficult in our world today. Most of us don't know how to live a peaceful, joy-filled existence. Learn how to break through these barriers and live a transformative life on Love and Light with me, Dr. Lisa, every day living in peace, every second and fourth Wednesday at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern on TransformationTalkRadio.com. To work with Dr. Lisa, visit educationthroughengagement.com.
Did you know that each Enneagram type has a different worldview, different patterns of thinking, feeling, and behaving? They also have essential qualities that are unique to their type. Understanding this helps us develop more tolerance, respect, and appreciation for ourselves and others. Renee Siegel works with individuals, couples, families, and groups using the Enneagram to build better relationships as a tool in addiction recovery. Visit yourpurepotential.com for more info.
Have you been on life's roller coaster trying to figure out what to do next? Then join Greta, Lee, Yvonne, and the Realm of Beings each Friday at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern on TransformationTalkRadio.com. Shake the dust off your wings and fly to the highest heights in your thoughts and actions. Express your greatness. Be a champion for yourself, and we'll see you there on Shifting Impressions Conversations with the Realm of Beings.
Hi, I'm Laura Goldstein, and here's a Coffee with the Universe tip. If you find yourself busy day in and day out, yet never feel satisfied or fulfilled at the end of the day. See, we're taught by society that being busy means we are productive and successful. But most of us are busy doing things that aren't getting us any closer to our dreams, or that we don't even really care about in the first place. We then never feel a sense of purpose and completion at the end of the day. So the secret to shifting all this is being really honest with yourself about what you are doing and why, and using your mornings to set up your day for intentional action. My Morning Magic course can help you with this. Learn more at www.cwtu.net/morningmagic.
Ready to come back in? Sorry to interrupt. Here. Okay, stand by.
Hi, everybody, and you're listening to the Dr. Pat Show. This is Robin Clare, host of Hungry for Answers on Transformation Talk Radio. And to learn more about me and my work, please go to clarity.com. That's CLARE-ITY.com. And I'm here with Elizabeth Hill. And Liz, how can people reach you?
The best way is to go to greenheartliving.com.
Great. And so we're going to talk a little bit about more about healing and opportunities for healing. And so one of the questions I have is, where does healing and writing intersect at Green Heart Living Press?
So there's a lot of different ways that we work with authors. So sometimes we are coaching them through the process of writing the stories themselves. A lot of the people that that they have grown from, transformed from, and they want to ease the path for other people going through that same thing. So they're writing from of really wanting to help other people. And usually they've been on this transformational journey for a bit, right? Yeah. But something that happens, no matter how much of the process that people have gone through, go to write their story, there's always more healing that takes place during that. Even when people think, oh, it's in the past, it's done, I'm in a good place, it brings up more things. And it's wonderful because it gives people that opportunity to heal. And then as we publish books, so sometimes through the Green Heart Living Press, we are publishing books as well, or helping them self-publish or find other avenues for publishing. When people go and share their stories, this is something I didn't anticipate when I started getting into this work,
right? That
there's a whole other healing that takes release their story out into the world. It's amazing. It's a whole other world of transformation as people learn to take ownership of their stories. And then I've talked about this before, this idea of releasing the story out into the world, because it's no longer just theirs to carry themselves. They are now giving it out to the world for other people to carry that story with them.
Yes.
So that's a whole other level of healing that it's beyond anything we can really anticipate. I think when people get into the process of writing and sharing their story, it's really exciting.
So, one of the things that attracted Liz and I to each other as colleagues is because I am a transformational writer for my own life. And I share very complicated situations with folks on the spiritual journey for transformation for them. And when I was writing Feast and Famine, Healing Addiction with Grace, the first time I wrote it, I was in addiction. And I couldn't release it because I wasn't in recovery. And then I realized a while later, then I rewrote it once I was in recovery. But what I realized is that the idea of writing it was moving me closer to being able to be in recovery I could stick with. It like solidified my recovery. So I'm not going to say I wasn't in recovery writing the book, because I think that was a recovery tool, but I couldn't make it stick. And really writing the book and being able to really understand my recovery life story and where it came from and what did I need to heal and how was I healing, and sharing the tools that helped me and sharing the the traumas that afflicted me, all of that brought me to this place where I could actually release it to the world. And I agree with you. It took a tremendous amount of courage to do that. And I had so many people say, "Oh, I didn't know that, Robin. I didn't know that." And I'm like, yeah, because you don't walk around bragging about that, right? And so I know that I've helped many people, but one of the things I find so interesting, and maybe people need to hear this, when you do your own healing, whether it's through writing or through other tools, you become the hero of your family. And what I mean by that is that when you do your own healing, you heal the lineage of your family. You heal it generations back and generations forward, because most of our trauma patterns are ancestral, right? And they come with us, and we bring them with us. And I always think of like when we're standing online waiting to drop in, right? The soul into the body. We're like, I'll take that one. I'll see if I can heal that this lifetime. And if we do,
I'll give it a go.
I'll give it a go, right? Bring it on, right? And then if we can heal the trauma patterns, we truly are breaking that for our family. So when you're thinking about, do I have the courage to do my healing? Think about how you can help your ancestors going back, and your current family, and then the ancestors going forward. And I think that gives it a whole different light on the subject of healing. What do you think about that?
Yes, and I think that also I've gotten to witness many people who have used this opportunity of writing to heal relationships in their families, right? So they have, whether it's writing a chapter in one of our book collaborations or writing their own book that they're working on, they have shared those sometimes when it feels right and safe to do so. They have shared the chapter or their book with people in their family. And in some cases that has helped them to deepen relationships with their family members, to get support from their family members, to discover things about each other. Sometimes it is clarifying in ways that might be a little confronting also if it's not received certainly well, but that is part of the healing too, is really getting to know each other. And so it has a healing when it can be used in this way, of sharing their story and getting to know each other in relationships of family members.
Yeah, I also think it's important to know that, your life is your play. And all of your family members are players in your play. And so they've come in with certain reasons to be your mother or your sister or your friend or your partner. So they're playing a role in your life too. And so when you can see that, and that happens a lot when you're writing, you can see the role that someone has played in your life. And then, of course, you choose whether you want to stay in relationship with them or just come into acceptance without judgment, which is the definition of unconditional love. And so can you love them unconditionally? You don't ever have to condone anything that anybody else has ever done to you, but you have to accept them without judgment. And I think writing about your life allows you to do that. It brings you to a place of peace, which then ultimately, I'm thinking that I'm seeing this vision when you said, when you release your book, you release the book and you move into freedom, a level of freedom, because you're not carrying that around with you, because you don't have to, because it's out in a book and you can see it, right? So it's out of you and onto the page, and that frees up space inside of you for other joyous adventures in your life, I believe.
Yeah.
So we talked a little bit about writing collaborations, and I find those interesting. So those or anthologies, as people might refer to them. It's when you have a group of writers who each write a chapter of a book on a given topic. And I believe that there's a level of healing that is going on there, not only on the individual level, but on the collective level of the group itself. When you're writing about a topic and when you're in collaboration like that. What do you think about that idea that there's a collective healing going on?
Definitely think there's a collective healing. So the first book collaboration that Greenheart Living Press did was about the great pause around COVID-19. So when this was right when we were going into it, it was March 2020, and I knew that there's so much news around this that was really stressful. We were all isolated. Many of us were isolated. And I thought, I really want to be in a space where we're sharing, okay, what are the blessings? What are the wisdom from this? You know, what can we learn from this? How can we talk about what good is happening right now?
Yes.
And to connect and support each other during this time where we, are in our homes, isolated from each other. So I threw out the idea of writing this collaboration and got 25 people almost immediately that wanted to be part of this. And the process of that is so beautiful to witness, people that grew together, both professionally and supporting each other during some difficult things, because you don't know at the beginning of the collaboration what's going to happen during the time that you have together, right? It's completely unknown. It's really an adventure, and to get to see how people have supported each other and are still years out, a couple years out now, supporting each other and connecting with each other through that. So it's very exciting from my standpoint to get to see all of it, to see the different authors come together to read their stories. Sometimes it's the first time that they're ever sharing this story with other people that they're putting in the book, and to be able to share that with each other. We know it's a safe place, right? Like I've vetted the people that are coming in. I know that they're accepting and compassionate people. And so there is that, okay, I can share it with the authors first. I can share it with Liz first, and she can read it.
Right.
Before you go out and share it on a broader scene. And often the story will shift as it's healed, right?
Yes.
The way that it reads can change before we go to press.
Also, you still have that same sense, even if you're just writing one of the chapters, you're still getting that sense of freedom and accomplishment that comes with writing a book. That's what I think is so wonderful about anthologies, is that you can then declare that you are an author by contributing to this collaborative effort with these 25 other people. So it's time for us to go to a break. You're listening to the Dr. Pat Show. This is Robin Clare, and we'll be right back.
All right, all clear.
Questions, Robin.
I try. Right, we're going to go.
Are limitations holding you back from living a powerful and authentic life?
We're going to go.
Are you able to see yourself and others through a lens of empathy and compassion? Tune into Awaken Your Truth with me, Ratika Rose, to discover how to free your mind, heal your life, and embody your power. Second and fourth Thursdays at 9 a.m. Pacific on Transformation Talk Radio, YouTube, and across all podcast stations. I'm on a mission to inspire a shift in you, so together we can collectively heal the world. To learn more about me, visit RatikaRose.com.
Are you ready to find out who you really are? Are you ready to have fun and listen to the soul part of yourself? Indulge in a deeper meaning with Laura Goldstein, host of Coffee with the Universe. This show will awaken that true self hidden deep within you and will get you energized on who you were created to be. So go ahead, grab your cup of joe and experience Coffee with the Universe with Laura Goldstein on TransformationTalkRadio.com.
The Truth is Funny. Shift Happens with Colette Marie Steffen is excited to welcome Karen Benton as a monthly guest host. Tune in on the third Wednesday of each month at 8 a.m. Pacific time to regain confidence and trust in your capacity to create change in your life, your health, your family, and your well-being. Karen Benton is a mother, nurse practitioner, certified body talk practitioner, Franklin Method instructor, and owner of Limitless Living LLC. For more information about Karen, visit KarenBenton.com.
Have you known that you're on a soul path, but often wondered why you don't have the insight of how to go from here to there, or whether or not what you're doing is going to take you to where you want to go in your soul's journey? Damayanti is the show for your soul. Damayanti speaks to your soul, connects with your soul, and shines a light for your soul. Damayanti, the show for your soul with Sarah Main, brings you insights and a pathway to your soul's journey on transformationtalkradio.com.
Have you ever felt like if you just had the right tools and resources, you'd be able to carve a path toward the life your heart is aching for? Guess what? You have everything you need inside you. I'm Natasha Ordnitho, and I'm here to show you that your healing is in your hands. Tune into my show, Unlock the Healing Path, every second and fourth Monday at 12 p.m. Pacific on TransformationTalkRadio.com. To learn more about me and my work, visit NatashaOrdnitho.com.
I'm not explain it. I just keep doing them and putting faith in them.
Y'all ready to come back?
We are ready.
All right, stand by.
And welcome back to the Dr. Pat Show. This is Robin Clare, host of Hungry for Answers. And I'd like to say that if you'd like to learn more about my work and my offerings, please go to clarity.com. That's CLARE-ITY.com. And I'm here with Elizabeth B. Hill from Green Heart Living Press. And Liz, how can people reach you?
They can look at the website, greenheartliving.com, and they can also catch the Green Heart Living podcast.
Wonderful. That's wonderful. So I'd like to give away 2 items. If you call 800-930-2819, that's 800-930-2819, I'm going to give away 1 copy of Feast and Famine, Healing Addiction with Grace, my book. And then I'm really proud to introduce, I don't have a good one. I'm going to get a good one because I bought some myself. The Right Recovery Journal, which is Discover How Writing Can Lead to a More Impactful Recovery. And this is available. They're both available on Amazon, but I'd like to give one away today. And this, the Right Recovery Journal is the companion to the Right Recovery Program that I'm going to be teaching as part of the Green Heart Living Press team. But here we go, that you can still do this yourself if you want to, because there's a lot of good prompts in there, writing prompts and activities to move you from your fear of writing all the way to writing your profound recovery life story. Now, not the entire book, but the story itself, because you got to really outline your story and you need to know the beginning, the middle, and the end. And then, of course, that can become a manuscript. So if you want to do that. So Liz, I want to ask you, I know you have some communities, of writing communities. And of course, we know that being in community of any like-minded person is really a wonderful way to grow. So let's talk about your communities that you've established for writers.
Yeah, so the first one is the Writers Hive. So this is a group of people that have been writing clients of mine, or we've published their book, or we've helped them find an avenue for publishing elsewhere. And once people do that with us, they get to always stay in this, what we call the Writers Hive. And we have a monthly call that's a Writers Hive Mastermind that we get on together, and the writers bring their what I say is opportunities or conundrums. So they might be have some kind of challenge in their writing, or an opportunity in marketing their work, or really anything that falls under the writing sphere. And so it's really nice to get to stay connected with each other, with the writers. And we have a Facebook group that people can ask for help from each other. Sometimes it's, is anybody wanting to read a few chapters from my new book and give me some feedback? Or if somebody's wanting to get bestseller status on their book, we can help each other do that and grow together. So it's really nice to be able to support each other, because writing can seem very solitary, right? Yes. When we are doing the writing process, it can be very solitary. So it can be very helpful to connect with other authors. And we have a lot of different things we do, like writing power hours to help people. Sometimes it's easy to say, oh yeah, I'm going to write, and then everything else will come into our life, right? Like everything else will try to distract us from writing, right? So sometimes having these writing power hours or this, accountability with other writers is like, no, I'm going to write from 8 to 9 in the morning, and I'm going to do it. Whether it's texting support to each other, to make sure the writing actually happens.
Yes, because it's a huge commitment. We talk about that, and we're going to move to, so Liz and I are collaborating through Greenheart Living Press on 3 writing programs. They're workshop style. They're 7 weeks, 1 evening a week for an hour. And they each will have their own journal, like I talked about for the Write Recovery. So the first one we're doing in January is called the Write Recovery. And we will go through the Write Recovery program, and it's 7 weeks of really looking at, why do I want to be a writer? Why am I afraid to be a writer? And what is my story? And so we'll take everybody through those 7 weeks. And then we move in March to Getting Ready to Write, which is another program. Again, and it be prompt and things that we're talking about, but this was just talking about, and that is, how do you become a writer? Like there is a level of discipline that's required and commitment. And so how do you set up your writing space, your sacred writing space? And how do you make that commitment to writing? And what does it take? And how do you know? We go through so many things, all the way to how do you know you're done? Like we could keep changing it. We're so critical of ourselves. We could keep changing it 1,000 times, but how do you know that when you're how do you trust yourself enough to know that you're done? So we'll talk about that. Ready to Write. And then the last one is called Write with Spirit, and that will start in May. And that is a fun class. It's about learning to channel what you're writing. So I was laughing, Liz, when you said that writing is a solitary process, because it's never solitary for me, because I'm a channel for the Ascended Masters. And so almost all of my writing and my books and my inspiration is at the request of the Ascended Masters. So I'm never alone in the writing process. The only time I am alone, and this is something we'll talk about in the programs, is when I'm writing from my head. When I'm writing from my head, I'm not in the present moment. And I'm usually looking at it and saying, oh gosh, I don't even like this. Why would someone else want to read this, right? There's all this like chatter going on. Oh my God, I can't think of anything to write. But when I'm writing from my heart, I'm in the present. And then I'm able to hear the inspiration from my own intuition, my own soul, from any other beings that are looking to help get the word out. Because many of us, especially those on the spiritual path, I was just talking to a client, are here to spread the message of healing and spread the message of connection for humanity. And so we have to be able to hear. And so in Getting Ready to Write and in Write with Spirit, we'll be talking about how do we stay grounded in our heart while making the commitment to write, and then writing from there, because It's the only place that you can hear inspiration is in your heart. What do you think about that, Liz?
Well, this is such a big aha moment that I'm having right now, because it occurred to me that I don't feel alone when I write. I feel generally that I'm called to write something. Mm-hmm. And there is something that I so relate to this idea of sometimes it's in our heads and we feel like we should be writing something, so we have to go do it. It's a very different feeling from when it feels like you're answering the call of the muse, or yes, spirit is calling you to write something. And I think that will be really helpful as we're talking with clients and authors to tune into that. Is like, okay, well, what's motivating you to write it? Maybe you don't write that thing that feels like it's coming from the head. Maybe you tune into this heart space and write from there instead. That's really cool, Robin.
Yeah, and when you tune into that heart space, I love what you said. Sometimes what you think you're supposed to write is not what you're supposed to write. Mm-hmm. But when you tune into your heart, you know it to be true. When I was writing my first book, Messiah Within, I had a publishing person tell me it's not long enough. So I kept throwing things in to make it bigger. Then finally, in my meditation, I heard, we are complete. This book is complete. And I'm like, yeah, this book is complete. Right? I'm like, because it's not complete to me, but somebody in authority said to me, it's not complete, right? And then I turned and I said, I don't care how many pages it is, right? It's complete. And it's a nice size book. It's very helpful to people. They say they like it because it's in little nuggets. And so, especially if you're writing self-help books, they don't have to be the less words and the more simply you write it, the better, I find. So we're going to take another break. You're listening to the Dr. Pat Show. This is Robin Clare from Hungry for Answers, and we'll be right back.
All right, all clear. I can shorten it up if you want. I can shorten it up. I can be like a minute.
Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Pat. I'm the host of the Dr. Pat Show. Is your life stressful and unfulfilling? Would you like to make changes, but just don't know how? I want to recommend The Necktie and the Jaguar, fabulous book by Carl Greer. Okay. This is a memoir. It has questions that help us understand what our story is about, how to change it, and how to live a life that is so aligned with who we are. For more information to purchase the book, go to transformationtalkradio.com or go to carlgreer.com.
We could talk for like 3
Welcome
hours.
to Soul Activation Podcast, a world-class broadcast of insight and inspiration with the renowned healer and coach, Suzanne Alexandria. In this series, she dives deep into the magical sea of you, to the place in you that's ready to activate. Tune in live every second and fourth Monday at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern on TransformationTalkRadio.com.
Okay. Ready to come back?
Yes,
all right.
Thank you.
Stand by.
Hi, this is Robin Clare, and welcome back to the Dr. Pat Show. I'm here with Liz Hill, and we're talking about the healing power of writing. And so at Greenheart, I don't want to say Green Hill, so funny. At Greenheart Living Press, Liz and I are both writing coaches for aspiring authors. And we both know that a writing coach is very helpful. You might think of a writing coach as just someone who helps you to get your manuscript done. But a writing coach helps you facilitate healing too, because we actually help you dig a little deeper into a situation. We'll read something and we'll be when we're reading it like writing professionals, but we're also reading it like readers, right? And so for me, a lot of times I'll read something that a client has written, and I'll be like, ooh, wait, more. I need more about that. And so I'll put a little comment in there. Why, and how did this happen? And what did you do about it? Or whatever, because I know that even though I'm trying to make the best reading material or the best manuscript, I also want my clients to get that healing. And so I will, because I'm also a life coach, so I will dive deeper into someone's writing to get to the heart of what they're trying to say. What do you think about that, Liz?
Oh, yes. And this is, we coach in very similar ways, which is why I'm so excited to have you be part of Heart Living Press with our coaching programs, because I am a social worker in background, and then I became a trained life coach. And so I have both of those hats as well that I bring to my clients. And as I'm reading, yes, I'm reading as a reader to go, oh, I need more of this story. But a lot of what I do is not just helping people craft the book so it's going to land with readers well and get the book out there, but also witness their story. Sometimes it's the first person that they're sharing some things with, and a lot of it is pretty intense or heavy, or it might be something so close that they haven't shared with anyone else. So for me, sometimes I'm reading it and just saying, as a human being, I just want to acknowledge what you went through.
Yes.
And that this wasn't okay, or I'm sorry you went through this, or wow, I can see how much you've grown that you are here now, and this is where you came from. So to be able to provide that experience, that witnessing and honoring of the life experience that the authors are bringing, and the fact that they want to help somebody else, right? They didn't just say, well, forget it. I got through it. Good luck to you. That they want to use this to mean something for other people. We attract such beautiful people to work with that is who they are.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I understand that too. Like sometimes I'm reading these things and a lot of times I'm blown away, for sure, and maybe sometimes appreciative of my own life too, when I'm like, it helps me to put my own life into perspective when I read other people's story. But what I do feel is deeply honored that someone would entrust me with their story like that. And I don't take that lightly. I never talk about anybody's book, right? Even if I want to say to my husband, oh my gosh, look what happened here. I'm like, no, I swear, like I'm a sworn oath that it stays with me. What happens in your book stays with your book, stays in your manuscript until you choose to release it. Right. And so it's something I really honor and respect and feel so, I guess, just honored to be able to have that role in someone's life. So moving into our last topic, because our show is almost over. We can see the type of healing that someone can anticipate by publishing their book. We see their own healing, right? Maybe there's healing for their family because maybe after they've read it, they can really understand why someone did the things that they did. Maybe I know that one of my brothers said to me, writing what you wrote about our parents helped me tremendously because I understood it. And then he used my writing to heal himself from things that that he felt that he needed to heal from his childhood. But then, and we talked about the ancestors, right? You go back, you're the hero of your family, and you go back past generations and forward generations. But let's talk about, in the few minutes we have left, what is the impact to the reader when they read your recovery life story or your transformation story?
So this is another thing that I just did not anticipate when getting into this field, right? Is this amazing exchange of energy between the readers and the authors. And I felt it myself first. So my book, Love Notes, which is a book of daily inspiration, right? Very simple. When I put that out there, I cannot share the impact that people were sending to me saying, I read this today and it made such a difference for me today. Thank you so much. And to hear that over and over again helped me, like all I was doing was sharing from my heart, and to get that energy back from the readers is incredible. That provides a whole other aspect of healing for the author themselves.
Yes.
And I've gotten to see that both for myself, but also I get to see it every time for the authors, them reaching out and saying to me, oh, I just heard from so-and-so. It makes everything worth it. It can be a lot of work to write and get the book out there. But when you realize that you've made that impact on somebody else, I know as a reader, sometimes books were what got me through reading,
sure.
Right? And when I felt like I couldn't even have a conversation with anyone else, right, or about something, but I could pick up a book about a topic and I could read it. Mm-hmm. And to know that somebody else was going through it's been life-saving for me. So to be able to make that transformation possible for our readers, so beautiful to get to see.
I'm thinking about Gay Hendricks and his book, The Big Leap. And most of us work in our zone of brilliance, but what we really want to do is work in our zone of genius. But in between our zone of brilliance and our zone of genius is the trauma or the self-limiting beliefs that are holding us back. They're like a protection. And so when you write your transformation life story, we talked about it being a form of freedom. I also believe it clears. It's a form of clearing or healing or integration of the trauma. And then it allows you to move from your zone of brilliance to your zone of genius. And that's where I believe you are able to fulfill your soul's destiny, because you are able to do what it is you truly came here to do, because the trauma patterns that, and I'm not saying, a lot of times the trauma patterns are our best healing. And what we needed to understand in this lifetime. Some call it what you had to heal from, whatever you want to call it. But once we're through that, who knows what's going to happen in our lives? Opportunities, our life begins to unfold in miraculous ways because we met the challenge of learning the lessons that our soul wanted to learn this lifetime. And so that's really exciting. It's really exciting that there's this level of opportunity that will arise because of the courage that you had to not only begin to write down your story, but to share it with others as a healing tool. What do you think about that, Liz?
Absolutely love that, because it's true. I think just from my own personal life, I was a yoga teacher for years, right? So that was like me working in my zone of brilliance. I could show up and create a safe space for people, right? Mm-hmm. To bring calm and all that. And I felt kind of locked up, right? I wasn't willing to talk too much about myself or my personal history or story with people. Once I got over this leap, and I get over this leap every day, right? Of being able to share a little bit more of my personal story. I don't need to share anything in a book that I don't want to or don't feel called to do. Right. But as I share more, as I get honored for those experiences, and other people go, it does provide me that to work in that zone of genius, right? Where I'm able to help people share their own story, right? Yes. To go through the things that I've been through myself. And it's exciting to think of it in that way. To create that clearing for people.
Yeah. And I had to really study that book in order to be able to write Feast and Famine the second time, when I wrote it, to write it in recovery, because I was so afraid. And I knew that I had to reach my zone of genius. And so since Feast and Famine, I've become a recovery coach, professional, a writing coach, and now also the host of Hungry for Answers. And now working in collaboration with you. So life just keeps unfolding. And I'm telling you, folks, embrace your story. And so we're coming to a close. Liz, thank you so much for being here. And I invite you to listen to Hungry for Answers. We're on the first and third Thursdays of every month at noon Eastern time. And so for Liz and myself, have a very wonderful holiday season and take care, everybody.
All right. All clear. Nice job.